Episode 1 of Zero Day begins with a flash forward of former President George Mullen trying to open his safe. He breaks a photo and it is actually of him in a uniform with two other people on April 29, 1975. He finally opens the safe, but someone enters the room. We then cut back 3 days earlier, where George begins his morning routine. We learn here that his wife is set to join the appellate court, and he has a rift with his daughter, Alex, as he's tried to stop her from running for some position. His first meeting of the morning is with a ghostwriter. He has taken a publication deal for his memoir, but he's been delaying the first draft. Ben, the editor, wants a ghostwriter to speed up the process, and she tries to stress the importance of this memoir. George is the only president to get bipartisan support. She then spots a 1975 photo. One of the men, John Flanagan, was a childhood friend and was killed after their discharge, which inspired George to become a prosecutor. He also refused re-election despite certain victory. She hints at her unsavory rumours around this, which he can put to rest with his memoir. However, when she mentions his dead son, he kicks her out. She calls Ben and suggests that George is still plagued by the re-election and that something serious must have happened. The phones in the car suddenly go blank with the message, "This will happen again." In the confusion, a train ends up on the wrong track and runs her car over. The news reports a cyber attack that led to a national power outage. It has caused widespread accidents with planes going down, subway collisions, and medical equipment short-circuiting. Someone at the Russian consulate in New York grabs a gun while House Speaker Dreyer scrambles to put out an assuring message. We then hit day 1 after the day of the cyber attack, which is being called Zero Day. There is something in the woods and George tells the caretaker, Hector, to set up an animal trap. The news covers the aftermath of Zero Day, from missing bodies to a massive data breach. Roger from the White House arrives with a proposal. They need George to provide moral support and calm the people to reduce panic. He's hesitant, but Roger promises that it will just be a 30-minute public appearance. George arrives at a rescue site and gets to work, delegating resources in the process. The locals are angsty, calling the attack an insurance scam and conspiracy. They wind up getting physical and George has to step in. He sympathises with them and empathises the need to work together to save the common man affected by the attack. This works enough to calm everyone down, while his speech is televised on all the news channels. In the process though, a woman calls and berates Roger for hijacking her crisis management strategy. He shares that he's with her dad and she hangs up, revealing that she's actually Alex. Meanwhile, the Russian guy checks in with his IT contact, Felix, who sends him the location of a server farm. The Russian official smiles and starts shredding some papers. Mrs. Mullen is worried though, as President Evelyn Mitchell wants to see George. She reminds him that he got out with a clean break and he's not to be sucked in. We then jump to day 2, where George meets Evelyn, who is putting together a zero-day commission to find the attackers. The commissioner has full authority here, including the power to arrest without a warrant. George is hesitant to take on the role, but he's the only one she can trust. That night, the Mullens host a party to celebrate Mrs. Mullen's appointment. Alex believes that the government has weaponized the cyber attack and George is their fall guy should things go wrong. However, he has bigger problems, as his Mossad contact, Natan, shows up. It seems that Russia's GRU has been funding a group of NY hackers led by Felix. A few months ago, someone enlisted him to put up a massive server farm in the Bronx. Nearby, Alex and Roger go head to head as she claims he only cares about his career. He insists that everything he does is for George, and she warns him that her father will become a scapegoat if he takes the commission. As George heads inside, he hears Who Killed Bambi by the Sex Pistols and he panics. He tells Hector to shut off the music, but in reality nothing is playing. He's lost in thought when Mrs. Mullen pops up. She agrees that the commission is a trap and certainly dangerous, but he is the only one who could be trusted with all of that power. Natan calls that night and George writes down something and puts the journal in a safe. The next morning though, he accepts the zero-day commission and most of the reception is positive due to his crystal clear past. That night, he gets a harrowing call from Natan again and he rushes to open his safe. As he panics, Roger and his security detail worry about him. When he doesn't respond, they break into his study. He's in shock as the diary is filled with Who Killed Bambi and George Killed Bambi. He believes someone has broken in and replaced it, and at the end of the episode, George is about to ask Hector about his safe when he sees a different caretaker called Wayne. He's confused and Mrs. Mullen reveals that Hector actually retired 5 years ago. So episode 1 of Zero Day kicks off this psychological crime thriller with a pretty intriguing premise. Had there been a full-blown season with a perspective of the higher-ups trying to deal with the aftermath of Elliot's cyber attack and Mr. Robot, it would probably look something like this Netflix show. There is a danger behind digitalizing a country's infrastructure and the effect should there be something as simple as a national power outage. In fact, we did kind of have something quite similar when Microsoft crashed and tons of flights globally got delayed. This show can almost be considered borderline dystopian, if not for the neo-noir corporate aesthetic. But there is a little something for everyone in Zero Day, with the psychological drama courtesy of George's possible dementia. There is quite a bit of emphasis on George Flanagan and George's crystal clear record, suggesting something darker as well. If the 1979 song is any hint, it could be foreshadowing George's killer past in trying to find John's killer, and all you have to do is take a peek at the lyrics, which read, "I'll try to find the killer in that rotten Royal Army." Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.